Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 5 of our favorite rock guitar teams. That's right, two guys, or two gals, or a guy and a gal, whatever it might be, who work really, really well together. Could be three, right? There might be some instances where we see three guitar teams this month, but work really, really well together, creating some classic music. Maybe both were spectacular lead players, or maybe one was the lead guy, one was more the rhythm guy. But man, what they did together was really, really special. And I think that the last instance that I spoke about one guy being the lead guy, the other guy being kind of the riff master, that is a perfect example of what I'm talking about today. These are actually two brothers. Scottish descent, born in Scotland, but migrated over to Australia. They have become probably the biggest Australian group of all time. Talking about Malcolm Young and Angus Young of AC/DC. Of course, classic high voltage, right? Interestingly enough, these two guys were your kind of stereotypical dynamite rhythm player, dynamite lead guitar player. And, as history of rock music has always showed, generally speaking, the lead guitar player usually is the kind of focal point of the band. And that has always been the case with AC/DC. AC/DC, it's almost like Angus is the mascot for AC/DC. Of course, he's got the schoolboy outfit, right, with his Gibson SG. On stage, he's just kind of flying about and headbanging with the hat and playing that SG. And there you have Malcolm over on his Gretsch guitar, just feet firmly planted, just hammering out one cool riff after another. I mean, the thunder in AC/DC comes from Malcolm. And, if you kind of read up a lot on the history of this band, and specifically the two brothers, it's pretty well known that Malcolm probably was also a really, really, and he's no longer with us, sadly, was also a really good lead guitarist too, but he kind of let his brother do all that. Malcolm was very happy just to crank out the riffage, and he was responsible for writing a lot of those great riffs, and just absolutely terrific. I mean, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. The Jack, TNT, man, She's Got Balls, High Voltage. How about the great If You Want Blood? There's Angus on the front, right, with the guitar sticking through him there. You've got Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap. Classic songs on here. One of my favorite AC/DC albums of all time, Let There Be Rock. So again, that's a perfect example. So here you got Bon over here on the side of the stage. There's Angus out in the front wailing away, but there, look at Malcolm back there, just sitting in the background, but yet that's where everything is happening, right? That's it. Just he, like Malcolm Young, so in the pocket, and then you've got the great lead player that is Angus, who I think takes a lot of his cue from the early '70s British blues rock guys, the hard rock guys there, like I'm talking about, Paul Kossoff and Clem Clemson and, Peter Green and that school, those biting lead guitar tones. Just great stuff. I mean, man, Go Down, Problem Child, Overdose, Whole Lot of Rosie is just killer. Of course, the great Highway to Hell album, for me, perhaps the best AC/DC album of all time. Title track, Girls Got Rhythm. I mean, listen to that fuselage of just guitar riffery going on that song. It just never ends. And the screaming lead guitar, man, Touch Too Much, absolutely killer. Shot Down in Flames, Night Prowler, awesome. And then, of course, they're working with Mutt Lange at this point, so the guitar sound of these two guys becoming even more immense. Back in Black, perhaps one of the greatest sounding guitar dominated albums of all time. I mean, this just, I'll never forget the first time I ever heard Back in Black. I was like, holy cow, it's just so crystal clear and heavy and massive. Man, Hell's Bells, title track, Shake a Leg, Have a Drink on Me, What Do You Do for Money, Honey? Awesome. They replicated that basically exact same formula on For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. Title track is great. Inject the Venom, Let's Get It Up, Evil Walks. Of course, and then AC/DC's popularity kind of still stayed pretty high all throughout their career, but they had some dips here and there. And I remember like when this album came out, Flick of the Switch, a lot of people were kind of disappointed in this because it didn't quite have the sound of its two predecessors or even three predecessors. And it kind of things were starting to sound a little samey. I think this album holds up really well today. I go back to this often, and I really like, House is on Fire, the title track, Flick of the Switch, Rising Power is great, Landslide, Bedlam in Belgium, Badlands. I mean, some really, really good material on here. Production, which produced by the band, not quite the same. And I think that's what was missing here. I think if this album sounded just as massive as For Those About to Rock and Back in Black, this would have been as big a seller as those two. But as it stands, still really, really good. And they have lots of other really strong albums. And of course, you got the last recording fully with Malcolm, Black Ice, which is really, really good. And now their nephew Stevie has taken the place of Malcolm in the band. And they've continued to go on and release a couple albums and a couple tours. And, not quite the same. Still AC/DC, but man, the duo, the team of Malcolm and Angus, that was pretty terrific. And I think when it's all said and done, and with when AC/DC, at some point will no longer exist as a band, they will be looked on in the annals of rock and roll history. Those two guys as being one of the great guitar duos of the last 50 plus years, without a doubt. That's what you want to hear from a rhythm guitarist and a lead guitarist. Absolute perfection, right? Everything just perfectly placed. Screaming, tasty, bluesy, hard rock soloing, and just in the pocket, crushing, crunchy, awesome riffs that are just so memorable. And those riffs have driven a ton of classic songs from this band. So there you have it. That's my pick for today. Malcolm and Angus Young, the brothers Young, from the mighty AC/DC. Any of these albums, right? You can hear all that was so great about them. So that's my pick for today. So let us know what you think of Malcolm and Angus in the comments below, as well as your pick for day 5 here, as we count down our 31 favorite guitar teams in rock history. So please visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell. We've also got the link to our Ko-Fi page below for channel donations, as well as our merch page, where you can get all sorts of cool Sea of Tranquility shirts, hats, hoodies, stickers, coffee mugs, all that sort of thing. Lots of different styles and logos and all that sort of stuff. We got a really, really huge variety of stuff over on the SOT page. So check that out. And please hit that like button before you go as well. So stay tuned for day 6 coming up tomorrow. And lots more stuff happening this week. So see you for more. I am Pete Pardo. We are Sea of Tranquility. Catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.